treasure, and pearl. In the Madonna Perverter camp. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid. And in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Matthew 13 verses 44 to 52. Jesus speaks in parables of the kingdom of heaven, comparing it to a treasure hidden in a field for which whoever finds it sells everything. The subject of the parable about the kingdom is also the pearl of enormous value, for which the merchant who goes in search of it sells everything to buy it. As the sources themselves reveal, Francis' hidden treasure was poverty. Not an end in itself, but for the kingdom, conformity to the poor Christ. For him, the hidden treasure for which he had to sell everything was the encounter with the lepers. Concrete revelation of God and with whom he wanted to be often, caring for them and loving them more than himself. According to Francis, prayer was also a hidden treasure. And the sufferings shared with Jesus. The sources attest, these visits to the lepers increased his goodness. Leading a companion of his, whom he had loved very much, to an out-of-the-way place. He told him that he had discovered a great and precious treasure. He often took him to a cave near Assisi, where he entered alone, leaving his friend outside, who was impatient to get hold of the treasure. Sources 1409. Then, as a lover of every form of humility, he moved among the lepers, staying with them and serving them all with the utmost care. He washed their feet, bandaged their wounds, removed the rot from the wounds and cleansed them of the purulence. He also kissed, driven by admirable devotion, their gangrenous wounds. He who would soon become the Good Samaritan of the Gospel. Sources 10:45. Again, and truly the Immaculate Bride of God is the true religion that he embraced. And the kingdom of heaven is the hidden treasure he so earnestly sought. Sources 3:30. His biographer Solano continues in the Vita Prima. He withdraws a little from the tumult of the world and tries to keep Jesus Christ in the intimacy of his heart. Like a shrewd merchant, he conceals the pearl he has found from the gaze of the skeptics, and secretly tries to buy it by selling everything else. Sources 3:28. The discovery of the great evangelical treasure is also attested in a short passage of the legend of the three companions. Francis and Egidio went to the marches of Ancona, while the other two set out for another region. As they went toward the marches, they rejoiced joyfully in the Lord. Francis, in a loud and clear voice, sang the praises of the Lord in French, blessing and glorifying the goodness of the Most High. Such was their joy that it seemed they had discovered a magnificent treasure in the evangelical farm of Lady Poverty, for the love of which they had generously and spontaneously gotten rid of all material possessions, considering it as waste. Sources 14:36. Kingdom as a fish net. In the baskets. By distinguishing between beautiful and rotten fish, new and old things. Matthew 13 verses 47 to 53. In the Gospels, the kingdom of heaven is compared to a net that collects all kinds of fish, which are then selected by fishermen. One day Francis, walking with Egidio, confided the following to him. Our religious movement will be like the fisherman who casts his nets into the water and catches a multitude of fish. Then, dropping the small ones into the water, he piles the large ones into the baskets. He prophesied with this simile the expansion of his order. Sources 14:36. At the same time, he never forgot the judgment of God who discerns good from putrid. And the Lord's we have served. Hence the final judgment on our actions. Francis lived his entire life in revering God. And Clare did the same. Committed to ensuring that there were healthy fish in their order. And again, in the legend of the three companions, divine grace had profoundly changed him. Even though he is not wearing a religious habit, he longed to find himself unknown in some city, where he can trade his clothes for a beggar's rags, and try to ask for alms himself for the love of God. Sources 14:05. The minim knew that what a poor man received was addressed to Christ himself, and that a single glass of water given to those little and marginalized people was offered to Jesus. The encounter with the leper on the plain of Assisi, in fact, had transformed the bitterness in him into true sweetness. Francis feared divine judgment and wanted to correspond to what the Word of God asked of him. He wanted to be that vital fish at the service of the kingdom of heaven, through an existence spent for others. The kingdom of heaven is like a net cast into the sea, which gathers fish of every kind. When it was full and he had pulled it onto the shore, sat down and gathered the beautiful fish into baskets. But they threw out the damages. For a full life experience. Brotherhood everywhere. Matthew 13 verses 44-52. Thank you all for your kind attention. We invite you to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our activities. If you liked it, leave a well done to support us. Subscribe, give your precious like, share with your friends, and comment too. Thanks, see you soon.